At some point, these two are going to meet in the middle, hopefully over the summer, and you're going to see some positive progress on all these issues, particularly on the economy. Just to dispute you on immigration, he has fixed immigration. The southern border is effectively closed. We have virtually no crossings going on right now. It's fixed. I don't even know why they need a wall now. Nobody wants to come here because they know if you come here, you're going to get thrown out by the Trump administration.
What's happening, everybody? Scott Jennings and Kevin O'Leary teamed up on the panel of Newsnight with Abby Phillip on Friday. Scott Jennings and Kevin O'Leary had to straighten out the other guest and host Abby Phillip about Donald Trump's trade strategy. Everyone other than Scott and Kevin clearly had a directive from the network to paint Donald Trump's administration as a failure before even 100 days had elapsed. Anyway, let's watch two yesterday's News Channel favorites, Scott Jennings and Kevin O'Leary, debunk the absurd fantasies of three CNN wokies and try not to be distracted by my cartoonishly long hair. Let's go.
So, which one is it? Is it 18? Is it 200? Is it 70? Is it 76? Like, where are we?
Why don't we just pick one situation, focus on that, because the narrative around trade is about justifying tariffs in either direction. Let's just take India, which we know the narrative is going on. They charge 110% tariffs on completely constructed cars going in from America to India. They're saying, let's drop that. Let's go to zero. If that gets achieved, it's just one country. That's a huge win for the United States of America.
IF is doing a lot of work there. And I also would say that's a lot of words that doesn't answer my question.
Yes or no.
How many deals, Kevin? I mean, I think that this is really important because he's giving himself 90 days, right? And we're a few weeks into this now. And there has not been, not even a one deal, not even a one deal in principle announced. So realistically, if it's as simple as that with India, why not paper it tomorrow?
So there's actually 17 deals that matter. Think about this. A lot of these countries, important to talk about, they don't matter. EU, Britain, which is not part of the EU, Switzerland, okay, Canada, Mexico, India, that's 72% of the pie. I don't care about the rest. I care about Thailand because I have a business there. I got it. But I don't care about the rest because these matter. And then there's the China stack. You got the China stack? That's not just trade. That's theft of IP and all kinds of problems with the World Trade Organization. I love the fact that we're talking about China. Not the same. But frankly, if he just gets that small stack, that's 72%. Why don't you say, yippee-yi-yo-ki-yay, that's good.
Doesn't it matter that he keeps claiming that there are deals, that there's progress, that there are talks, and a lot of the parties involved are saying, I don't know about that.
Doesn't matter.
Why doesn't that matter? That he's not telling the truth.
I think the problem is there's no stack. And look, Trump's playbook is when things aren't going his way, he deflects. And here's the reality of the situation. He said he was going to fix the economy. He has a 37% approval rating on the economy. He said he was going to end the war in Ukraine within 24 hours. The war is still going. He said that he was going to fix immigration. His approval rating is underwater. He says that he's going to fix tariffs and have great tariffs. He's got a 34% approval rating on this. So this is just his way of distracting from the truth, which is everything that he fought for, that was his greatest strengths, frankly, during the election, are now becoming his greatest weaknesses.
How much longer, Scott, does Trump have to say a lot of words but not produce any results?
Well, I mean, he's not running again. I mean,
particularly on the economy.
And so he has a whole presidency to create results. But look, I think over the next few months, he has got to do his part on the trade deals and the things he can do, and the Republicans in Congress have to do their part on making the tax cuts permanent, energy policy, on the reconciliation bill, et cetera, et cetera. At some point, these two are going to meet in the middle, hopefully over the summer, and you're going to see some positive progress on all these issues, particularly on the economy. Just to dispute you on immigration, he has fixed immigration. The southern border is effectively closed. We have virtually no crossings going on right now. It's fixed. I don't even know why they need a wall now. Nobody wants to come here because they know if you come here, you're going to get thrown out by the Trump administration. So that particular issue is, in my opinion, fixed and well on the way to being fixed forever. But these other issues, he does have some balls in the air, but I think there's a strong possibility they're going to land correctly.
I would say the American people disagree with you.
71%.
You think they think it's better today or under Biden?
71. We got some answers, okay?
And just to answer your previous question, because that wasn't answered either, is there are no deals. He hasn't cut a deal. Trump is the first person, if there is a deal, to come out and yell to everybody that he has struck a deal. This is the way that he works. This is what he does. And so I don't think that there are any deals. I think he's bluffing. I do think on the economy, if I were a Republican in Congress, I'd be worried. Once the American people start feeling this, once there are, the shelves are not stocked, all of these issues, that hurts the Republican Party. They control everything. They can't blame Joe Biden for the tariffs. They can't blame Democrats for unstocked shelves. That's directly to the Republican Party. And heading into the midterm elections, they don't have, it seems like a long time, but they don't have a long time because Trump believes that he has about a year or so until this is somewhat resolved. And a year or so gives you 6 months until the midterm elections, and American people should be worried.
I agree with you. The Republicans are in charge, and the American people are going to expect results. But I think what they are going to do, particularly on the issues of making the tax cuts permanent and some of the other changes they're going to make, they're going to help millions of Americans on the tax front, are going to be far more popular than what the Democrats are going to be running on in the midterm. So the opportunity exists to get that right. The midterms are not until next November, so there is some space here for Trump's plan to work and for the Republicans in Congress to live up to the mantle of leadership.
I couldn't care less what Abby thinks about Donald Trump's performance. Scott and Kevin easily set them straight there. The border's under control like never before. His tariff strategy with China is working, and deals will be made with all the players in international trade. I genuinely believe that Trump will be triumphant in the end with his trade strategy, and the economy will respond accordingly. But I'm praying we start seeing some tangible movement from China and some deals inked sooner rather than later, not only so the American people can start feeling the economic results, but also just to shut these people up about it. I'm really hoping that Donald Trump wraps a lot of these trade deals and you start to settle with China significantly before the midterms. I mean, that may be a pipe dream. Because regardless of how we think he's doing now, or if we think he's not prioritizing the right things, or whatever complaints we might have about him, and I'm saying this primarily to conservatives, we better pray to God that the administration is doing everything they can to bring this whole thing to some kind of conclusion. Because while we have about a year and a half before the midterms, November of next year will be here before we know it. If the country doesn't feel like the economy is getting back on track, I think it's almost certain that we'll lose the House. Think about how hard it is for the Trump administration to get anything done right now. Can't deport a wife-beating gang member in our country illegally without it being national news. With all of these forces working against them, if we lose the House, Trump might as well be a lame duck. They already have the judicial working against them. Add half of the legislative branch actively working against them, and we're cooked. So let's just all stay optimistic and pray for Donald Trump's team. Let's get back to the video.
So one of the big questions they're facing is what happens for the millionaires on the tax front. Trump actually, it sounds like, has been hearing arguments about maybe allowing the taxes to be raised on millionaires. Should he do that?
Never going to happen. You know, the key to success is to maintain the tax code as it stands right now, because you want more capital in the economy, not with the government. And I think that is what he actually got elected on. Because remember, our choices
like a great
were
argument against tariffs.
You remember
Kevin.
the choices were: let's raise corporate taxes to the highest in 40 years, or keep it under the tax code that Trump brought forward initially. The economy works better with low corporate taxes because more capital comes into the economy. And it has nothing to do with the trade fight at all. Low taxes is what the American dream is all about. That's not. So this narrative about is he going to raise corporate?
I get that.
I guarantee you
but
zero.
I truly do not understand how you can make that statement and square it with a tax, which is what a tariff is, on consumers, which are regular Americans, not to mention the businesses that are also dealing with this. It is a tax too. So how can the anti-tax party then
empty
say,
shelves.
Okay,
there's no empty
tariffs
shelves
on everybody,
anywhere.
20%, 30%, 50%, 145%. How are you okay with that when you are opposed to tariffs?
I'm not
when you are opposed to the
I'm not
government
opposed to
taking
tariffs.
the
I want
money.
400% on China. I've said that countless times. Here's what I want. Think about this. Why,
No, I know you're
why
not,
are
I know
all
you're
these
not opposed
leaders
to tariffs. I'm saying you're opposed to taxes, and tariffs are taxes.
Taxes are permanent. Tariffs are a negotiating weapon. Why is
Unless you want them to be
every
permanent,
leader
which
of
this
every
president
country in
does.
Europe showing up in Washington every week? They want to cut a deal. You don't like the fact that in 9 weeks we don't have a deal? No administration's ever tried to cut 60 deals at once. All you need to do is pen one. Just pen one, whether it's India or EU or Britain, whatever it is, and that becomes the hallmark of all the rest. That's that stack. And then let's settle with China, because that's a different story. And I love the fact that Xi's getting his head squeezed like a teenage pimple right now. I'm good with that.
I think there's a lot of dispute about that. I think she is basically saying, we're not talking to you right now. But I want to play one other element of what Trump said to Time magazine. Is particularly amusing because they're asking for credit for opposing aid to Ukraine, which kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But anyway,
Look, I think saying that Donald Trump doesn't like getting credit is like saying Kevin O'Leary doesn't like royalty deals. Look, the reality is this is a president who craves off attention and credit for everything that he does. A couple things that weren't mentioned in that segment is that he wanted more credit for John McCain's funeral. He wanted more credit for making Juneteenth famous. There is nothing that this man doesn't want credit
Guys,
for.
has there ever been an American president that didn't want credit for everything that
Why is he
happened?
denying that he wants credit?
Every single president wants credit for the good things that happen. And a number of good things have happened when he was president the first time and when he's president right now. And he does deserve some credit for it. And he is constantly harangued and I think treated unfairly. And I think some of these issues that we're talking about tonight, whether it's the immigration case or whether it's cutting of the trade deals, he does deserve a little bit of credit for standing up to
I just
China
wonder-
and other issues. And so I think he's got a point.
I just
don't
wonder
think
if
he's getting
there's
some of the
ever a
credit he
time when you
deserves.
think Trump is being treated fairly.
Do I think
Is
he's
there?
being, what do you mean?
Like you said, he's constantly being treated unfairly. Is he ever being treated fairly? Can you think of an example?
I mean, I treat him pretty fairly. I don't know about the rest of you guys.
I don't think constant praise counts, Scott. All right, last word.
Well, I mean, I will just say that as someone who says that he doesn't want credit, he is someone who watches television all day, every day, and is constantly any sort of criticism that comes his way. He attacks, whether it's the reporter, he attacks CNN all the time. He attacks everybody. He believes that he is always being treated unfairly, probably more than any other president.
No, every president believes that. Joe Biden believed that. Barack Obama believed that. Every president believes they don't get enough credit and that the press is out to get them. Every
I will say
president
Trump is a
believes
little
that.
different.
Joe Biden never banned journalists as a result of.
Well, they threw 400 hard passes out of the briefing room. Were you part of that decision?
All right, we don't have time to get into all of that. Coming up next for us,
I don't know if you guys caught Abby. I don't think she is feeling that right now, and there's some dispute about that. What? There is? You're saying Supreme Leader Xi isn't getting squeezed? Go ask business owners in China how they're feeling right now. They'll tell you if Xi's feeling the pressure. Spoiler alert, he is. I can't argue with the point that Donald Trump likes credit and likes to be the center of attention, but that little montage they played there, that's not him asking for credit. He's pointing out what we all know. You give him credit for nothing. You can't even acknowledge that the border is 1,000% more secure than it was under Biden. If you can't give him credit for that, just be honest. You'll never give him credit for anything. I mean, look, they all laughed because Scott praises Trump for his successes. The fact that they're all laughing is the evidence that he doesn't get credit. I mean, Abby, you especially need to look inward and ask yourself that question. I've never heard a compliment come from, forget the CNN panels, but you specifically, Abby. And I watch the show a lot. And it all just depends on who's critiquing Donald Trump. If you're asking if he ever gets his due credit from people of your ilk, the answer is an emphatic no. From people that are objective, the answer is yes. Unfortunately, people like you dominate the legacy news media, so the average person, if they're just consuming cable news, will never see Donald Trump given credit for anything he accomplishes. Finally, I know, Donald Trump only cares about himself and wants credit for everything. But do you think maybe he's grateful for all the hard work his team does, and he gets a little sick of all those people getting no recognition? That's a key trait of any outstanding leader. Recognize your people when they succeed. And I pay attention. I see him constantly praising people in his administration that work hard to get things accomplished, and I admire it. But what do you guys think about this panel or my commentary? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you like watching videos of Scott Jennings or Kevin O'Leary just owning a CNN panel, then click on one of the videos that's about to pop up on your screen. Otherwise, as always, I've got the best viewers on the planet. I really appreciate you taking a couple minutes out of your day to watch my video. It means a lot to me. Never forget Jesus loves you. See you guys.